Shalom. I like to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim, preaching this word of truth and sincerity around the four corners. Peace and salutations to the Akim and the few Akwath, the true believers of the hopeful elect. And Shalom, peace and salutations to the Israelite foreigners. You know, the Israelites that live amongst the heathen, that look like the heathen. So, just coming back in the spirit and theme of prophecy. And I wanted to speak about this article I got from watching a video. I believe it was Elder Manata Zagba from GMS South Carolina, '08. That's his YouTube page. Subscribe and be edified. And I just got finished watching the Elder in Las Vegas, Elder Karata's GMS Vegas sit-downs, 144K. And it has to do with that, you know, it's been brought up quite a bit, you know, the elites having a $21 trillion hideout, in underground hideout, military, well, not military, but underground hideout space for when, you know, the missiles get shot off. So I'm gonna just read a little bit of this article, hit a couple of precepts, and Lord's willing, this will be edifying. You know, this is from End Time Headlines, and it reads: New claim says underground cities are waiting for the apocalypse. And I believe I did a video on this, maybe like earlier last week. But you know, it wouldn't hurt to do another one, because you know, we're set up as watchmen. So you know, just trying to make it plain upon tables. So let's read a little bit of this. It says, in tonight's podcast, we discussed the recent claim by a former government official that the U.S. has built a secret underground city costing $21 trillion, where the ultra-wealthy can hide out during a near-extinction event. And you know, that's talking, you know, Salakia. You know, the wealthy, the global elites, they know that the scriptures are 100% real. You know, they know that they're the Edomites. They know that we, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, are the Israelites. They know that we're set to rule in the future, and the future is looking like it's now. It's coming sooner than later. They know that they're going into slavery, that we're getting out of slavery, that the Lord is going to deliver us out of slavery. They know that the other nations are going to shoot their nuclear-capable missiles over to Babylon. So that's why they have this underground bunker. From what I understand, they've been building it since 1998 or somewhere around there, like 1998. I was watching the video from I told you, from the elder in Vegas, and this lady was saying that they've been building this since 1998. I forget the lady's name offhand. But anyway, let me continue. It says, we also discuss a recent report that a secretive underground FEMA base where congressional leaders hid following the 9/11 attacks is getting an upgrade. And we all know that 9/11 was an inside job. Though if you don't know, now you know. 9/11 was an inside job. The U.S. government did cause that just so they could pass some wicked decrees like the Patriot Act. And also to go into Afghanistan and Iraq just to get their resources. You know, it says, and the purpose is confidential. Are world leaders, including the elite, preparing for some major event that the general public is being left in the dark about? And the answer is yes. How about how does this fit into Bible prophecy? It fits into Bible prophecy because it's been prophesied throughout the scriptures that they're going to hide in the clefts of the rocks, you know. And Lord's will, I'll get some scriptures on that. It says we cover all of this in tonight's segment. And then here's the video right there. So, you know, if you want to listen to the video, if I remember, Lord's will, I'll leave the link in the description box. Alright, so let me start off with a couple of precepts. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21. And it reads, there are many devices in a man's heart. And you know, heart in the Hebrew is lab, which is your mind. It says, nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. Alright, let's read that in the NLT. Because no matter what you do, the Heavenly Father's plan is going to stand. You know, like it tells you in Isaiah the 46th chapter, how he told the end from the beginning, and he's going to do all his pleasure. The Lord's counsel shall stand, and he's going to do all his pleasure. Roughly paraphrasing, the Lord does what he wants. You know, Psalms 115 and 3. You know. Verse 21 in the NLT, it says, you can make many plans, but the Lord's purpose will prevail. You see? And this goes out to them, to these global elites, especially these top elite bankers. You know, because they're going to be the ones in these bunkers and in these underground made cities, trying to hide from the Lord. Trying to hide from society and from the Heavenly Father, because they know what they're doing is wicked. You know, you cause all of this bloodshed, you cause all of this calamity, you know, you cause all of this fake food to be made, all of these man-made diseases, and then you're going to run with your tail between your legs like the cowards that you are, into underground bunkers when missiles are shot off, and before missiles are shot off, because they're definitely going to collapse the economy. That's what they're doing now. This is the book of Job, chapter 26, verse 6. Let's read this in the NLT. It says, the underworld is naked in the Most High's presence. The place of destruction is uncovered. Yeah. So no matter where you go in the earth, you know, you're not hidden from the Heavenly Father. You know, tells you in the Apocrypha that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun. You know, withholding the most secret parts. Let's read that in the KJV. It says, hell is naked before him, and destruction hath no covering. Yeah. So the Lord sees what you devils are doing. You're not slick. Alright, there's the book of Isaiah chapter 2, verse 17. It says, and the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of men shall be made low. Yeah, and that's exactly what you're going to see. The Heavenly Father is going to bring the pride of these devils down to the most minute level. to the lowest common denominator. Because right now they're very high and lofty. They plan on crowning their enterprise's success with with trying to getting everybody hipped, creating a new to the world, to the order, with everybody hipped and doing away with cash, causing these man-made diseases and viruses to be spread amongst the people and the animals, And it says, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Yeah, this is talking about the day of the Lord. The Heavenly Father is going to be the only one exalted in that day. Him, and when he sends his son Yahweh to retrieve his prized possession, the elect. Verse 18, and the idols he shall utterly abolish, and they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth, for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty, when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. Yeah, that's exactly what the Lord's going to do. That's exactly what Esau is going to do. Esau is going to go into the holes of the rocks and the caves of the earth. This is what he's doing now. Right. Matter of fact, before I finish, let me get this real quick. There's a book of Revelation, the 11th chapter and the 12th verse, and it reads, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying, come up, saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Yeah, so while the destruction is going on, the thermonuclear destruction simultaneously, before those missiles hit, the elect are going to get beamed up into a so-called UFO, a spaceship, if you will, and the enemies are going to behold them, like it says in this precept. While they're trying to subdue the elect, the Heavenly Father is going to send Yahweh, and Yahweh is going to rescue his people. Verse 13, and the same hour there was a great earthquake, just like that terrible shaking that it was talking about in Isaiah, the second chapter. And the 10th part of the city fell, and the America is broken up into 10 FEMA zones, and you know that America has 10 zip codes, 0 through 9. So the 10th part of the city is talking about they're talking about the whole mass, the whole land mass of America. It says, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and 7 is just a complete number. So there was a complete number of men slain, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of heaven. You see, so like it tells you in I believe that's 2 Peter, that the righteous shall scarcely be saved. That's why it says the remnant were affrighted, because they're going to see the missiles coming down, and meanwhile people are going to getting beamed up while the missiles are coming down, and they're going to give the glory to the power of heaven, like Kol Halo Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. That's all you're going to hear in that day from the elect. Kol Halo Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Anyway, let me finish this Isaiah. It says, in that day a man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made each one for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats. Yeah, in that day, all these idols, all these superfluous idols, these bullshit idols, they're going to be cast down. Because, like it says, the Heavenly Father shall be exalted alone in that day. It says, to go into the clefts of the rocks and into the tops of the ragged rocks for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty when he ariseth to shake terribly the earth. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. The fear of the fear of the Lord and the glory of his majesty is going to prevail over all. Ain't no, and you gainsayers and you naysayers, y'all ain't gonna have shit to say in that day. Y'all most likely gonna perish by then. But it does say in the scriptures that all flesh shall see the salvation of God, of the Most High. So, you know, that's what it is. Let me get this in Revelation 6. I start at 13. And it reads, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs. And you know the stars of heaven, talking about those missiles. Because when they fall, they're going to look like stars of heaven. When they go from the air, like it tells you in Isaiah the 34th chapter, my sword shall be bathed in heaven. It's going to look like stars are falling from heaven. It says, when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and the heaven is departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Yeah, that scroll is talking about that mushroom cloud that you're going to see from the nuclear blast, from the blast of the missiles. After the missiles hit impact on the targets of Babylon, you're going to see the the aftermath. The explosion is going to look like a scroll rolled up. When it's rolled, like it says, like when it's and heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and the mountains and the island were moved out of their places, like it tells you in Isaiah the 24th chapter. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, you know. So this is going to be a heavy extinction level event. It says, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. You see, so just like it said in the script in that article, is this biblical prophecy? And the answer is yes. You see, this is biblical. This is biblical what the Edomites are doing, running to the caves and the heathen nations and the other heathen nations, but mainly the Edomites. This is biblical. This is biblical what they're doing. It was already written in the scriptures that they would cause a ruckus, get everybody riled up, put everybody through the ringer in the wicked demonic system, and then run and retreat to their bunk, to the caves, to the dens and the caves of the rocks. Verse 17, it says, for the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? You know, it tells you in the let me see. It tells you in the Apocrypha, like who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at the sign of his presence. You know, there's a book of Amos 9, and start at the top. You see, it says God's judgment unavoidable. It says, I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, and all of them I will slay, and all of them, and it says, cut them in the head, all of them, and I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Yeah, so there's no getting away from the judgment of the Heavenly Father. You Edomites, y'all time is up. Y'all asses is grass when the Lord sends his only begotten Son. You're going to get got. And it's going to further explain. This is verse 2. It says, though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Yeah, you can't forget about Leviathan, you know, because from what I understand, they have underground cities and underground bunkers under the sea. So Leviathan's going to have a good time playing with these devils, you know. The Lord got all all angles of the board covered. You know, the Lord is the ultimate strategist. He's the ultimate chess player. And Esau, the funny thing about it, the Lord is so far out, he created his own enemy. The Lord created his own enemy to go against him. And the Lord is going to prevail, of course, because he's the Almighty, you know. Al-Shadia, demon-like power. And people are going to realize that, and that's how the fear of the Lord is going to grow and get back to its natural state and the way it used to be in the ancient world, when people knew that the Heavenly Father was not to be fucked with, you know. They're going, after the Lord does this work, this mighty work, people are going to know once again to fear the Lord. As a matter of fact, I think it's in Apocrypha. Oh yeah, here you go. This is a Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus chapter 16 verse 13. It says, the sinner shall not escape with his spoils. Yeah, meaning Esau's not going to get the chance. You know how usually you see Esau in his movies, he always paints himself as the good guy, and he gets to ride off in the sunset with the girl in the end. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in reality. Esau is going headfirst into the captivity. Him and his seed line, and all these other nations as well. Tells you that in Jeremiah the 30th chapter, Jeremiah the 49th chapter, how they gonna drink of that cup. You know, Isaiah the 24th, I believe Isaiah the 24th, the 14th chapter. You know, we shall take them captives who they were, and prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. So Esau's judgment is coming, and he knows it. It says, then the patience of the godly shall not be frustrate. You know, all of that, all of the provisions that Esau has made, all the food that he has taken from all of them bogus recalls, you know, over the years that he's been stashing away in these underground bunkers, because that's exactly what happened. All of this food that they recalled, that there was nothing wrong with it. You know, a couple of years ago they said that Boar's Head had listeria, and some people died and got sick from it. I don't doubt that, but all of that food that they said was bad, in my opinion, I speak as a man, I don't believe it was bad at all. That was just them stashing away food for the elites, you know. And they got the good food without the GMOs in it, organic, fresh. You know, people go missing. Only these people that go missing every day, only to be servants of the elite in these underground bunkers, in these underground cities. You know. Matter of fact, let me see if I could get that. Yeah, here you go. 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 11, and it reads, "The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence." You see? See, the Lord threatens, and who's not going to be turned to dust when the Heavenly Father sends His only begotten Son in the presence of the mighty angels and the chariots of the Lord. Chariots of the Lord, like that movie War of the Worlds. War, yeah, War of the Worlds. A little tongue twister for me. That Tom Cruise movie. And I believe there was a remake of one, I believe it was in the 60s, 50s or 60s. But yeah, concentrated fire. That's what's coming for Esau. Thermonuclear fire and concentrated fire is coming for Esau. And 2/3 of our own people who join on to Esau. But anyway, let me see this. Alright, this is Habakkuk chapter 2. I read this in the NL 2 and 9 in the NLT. It says, "What sorrow awaits you who build big houses with money gained dishonestly?" And we all know that Esau got his riches, he got his money by stealing it, you know. Ever since he came over, ever since he came over to the Americas, did treaties with Gad, Reuben, and Issachar, broke every last one of them, brought over you know, took the land through a myriad of contracts, Homestead Act, Act of 1866, this and that, just to name a couple. Brought over the Southern Kingdom, made them work for free. Offered them 40 acres and a mule. Never got that. So we know how Esau does. We know that Esau's MO. It says, "You believe your wealth will buy security, putting your family's nest beyond the reach of danger." Matter of fact, let me see something real quick. Let me get this in the Salakia. Let me get this in the amplified. Do just like the elder. It says, "Woe, judgment is coming to him who obtains wicked gain for his house, and thinks by so doing to set his nest on high, that he may be rescued from the hand of evil." You see? So it's destruction until that. There's destruction. Judgment is coming for Esau. And that's clear and plain, because he's the one who obtained wicked gain for his house. It says, but by the murders you committed, you have shamed your name and forfeited your lives. It says, the very stones in the walls cry out against you, and the beams in the ceiling echo the complaint. It says, what sorrow awaits you who build cities with money gained through murder and corruption. And let's read that in the NIV. See, it says, woe to him who builds a city with bloodshed and establishes a town by injustice. You see, and that has Esau's name written all over it. You see, for all the crimes and atrocities that you've committed to the children of Israel, both northern and southern kingdom, and for what you did across the whole world. Because you look in the world, America has its imprint everywhere. Damn sure has a military base everywhere and an embassy everywhere. So the influence of Babylon is heavily felt in the world. And in 1 hour it's going to come to naught. And that's beautiful. You know? This is the book of Isaiah chapter 24, verse 21 and 22. It says, and it shall come to pass that in that day the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together, as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Yeah, this is the future fate of Esau. And he knows it. That's why he's running, trying to run from his destiny. His destiny is to go into slavery. You know, after the after the nuclear blast, you know, the deliverance of the elect are going to come down to the earth, like it tells you in Revelation, the 21st chapter, how John saw, the Apostle John, he saw New Jerusalem, you know, and they're going to come back down to earth with their new bodies, and it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Then from then on, they're going to go around the earth, rounding up the elites, rounding up the elites, and putting them in chains, like it tells you in Psalms, the 149th chapter. You know, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. That's exactly what's going to happen. And we can't wait. So yeah, you know, Lord's will, you was edified. I'm going to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukaha Kodash. You know, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Just, you know, hold on, we almost up out of here. These devils are shook. They can't hide. They can run, but they can't hide.